Alright, you may have figured out we ain't in Canada anymore. We're not even in Kansas anymore. We are at the start of an epic road trip. So cue the music, let's hit it! Yep, here we are, downtown Chicago, Illinois, getting ready to set out on a 16-day adventure along old Route 66. On the road, we're in the canyons of Chicago, corner of Adams and Michigan, which is where the sign is. Of course, the actual start has moved a number of times over the years, so it's not necessarily the start depending on what era you're following, but for us it's going to work out perfect. We're going to get on the road and try and set our sights on Springfield today, so come along, let's see what we find. So there you go, there's a cool Route 66 sign, but that is not why we are here. No. Oop. We are here to check out the Gemini Giant and the Launching Pad Drive-In, which is now a souvenir shop. So the Giant is one of the former muffler men, been gracing the launching pad since 1964. Alright, checking out the inside now. Hey, even Homer Simpson makes an appearance here. And of course all your typical souvenirs and t-shirts, and more t-shirts, and pamphlets and travel info. Alright, and it's official now. If we come around the back, ignore the dumpster, we have officially christened the truck with the first Route 66 marker from the trip. Alright, down the road here a little bit further to Braidwood, Illinois, and the Polk-a-Dot Drive-In. No time to actually eat, so we're just going to check out Superman and Elvis here, and of course, who can pass up a chance to hang out with the Blues Brothers? So this promises to be a fun little stop. Gardner, Illinois, and a two-celled jailhouse. And as you can see from the sign here up in the corner, built in 1906. Now, believe it or not, this jail was actually in use up until the 1950s, before a more modern jail was built in the area. That's when things took a nasty turn. Alright, next up on the tour here, we're at this 1930s era Texaco station, which was restored back in 2007 and now serves as the visitor center in Dwight.
Push the red lever over there next.
That one?
Nice!
I never would have seen that. And you know, one of my rules is you always have to ring a bell if you see it. So.
Yeah, well, I had two little.
Oh. Oh yeah, look at that.
Are we going to
This the SHBs have signed all on the model. So that's where this.
All right, so we were driving around. We saw this windmill up on the horizon. It's a bit of a detour off of Route 66 officially, but we had to come check this out. Okay, so the windmill was apparently built in 1896 for what was a private estate and has been restored a couple of times over the years, but still stands there. Quite an impressive structure. All right, next up on the tour, this 1932 service station here in Odell, Illinois. All right, there's a date on this one that says 1953. Oh, wow. You got your cooktop. You got a sink. All nicely decked out. When Emily sees those Route 66 curtains, she's going to want them. We won't steal them. They'll be here when you come to check it out. Sure. Yep, there. Proven we weren't lying. 1932. All right, and we even get to come right inside the old service bays. Check out that tin ceiling. Wow. This is fantastic. Here we are in Odell, way up there. That's all we've covered so far today. There's a lot of days left to go. It may not look like much now, but this road in here, or what was a road behind me, was actually an alignment of Route 66 up until the 1940s. Now, what makes this one interesting or noteworthy compared to all the other ones we've been on today? Well, that's because if you look over here, I've turned the camera around. This is where Route 66 runs today, in front of the old Log Cabin Inn. Prior to the realignment, the Log Cabin Inn was actually situated the other way on the property, facing the highway. And when the highway was realigned, they simply picked up the cabin, turned it around, and plunked it back down again so that it would continue to have its entrance facing the old Mother Road. And if we sneak a peek in behind here, you can see it's not just a name, but it actually is Log Cabins. There's a good view of the front. Time to get on the road. All right, we are in behind the Route 66 Museum at Pontiac. I was going to say Pontiac, Michigan for some reason. Pontiac, Illinois. So we're going to, it's about an hour before closing. We're going to get in there and check it out. All right, so there's a whole display here of merchandise and things from the Cozy Dog Drive-In. Cozy Dog is a very famous Route 66 restaurant in Springfield, Illinois. We're going to check that out later. And oh, check this out. This entire area up here is dedicated to America in the 1940s. They've got like, individual rooms from a house all set up here as if it was the 1940s. Of course, the 1940s was more or less kind of the heyday of Route 66, pre-interstate era when 66 really was the road for travel and commerce between Chicago and LA. And ooh, fun with electricity. You can't beat that. And here's a whole military section set up with some of the military bands. And of course, no museum would be complete without a selection of photographs. And this exhibit here, wow, some of these photos are just amazingly well done, showing, the signs, the buildings, the vehicles. This gives you a really good feel for what Route 66 really has to offer. Back outside the museum here, and this is Bob Waldmeier's bus. Now, if you're any sort of Route 66 fan, you've heard of Bob Waldmeyer, the late Bob Waldmeyer, who's a very famous Route 66 artist. This was his home away from home when he would be out exploring the Mother Road. So fresh out of the Pontiac Route 66 Museum and Hall of Fame, just over the shoulder there, you owe it to yourself if you get the chance to come in and check this place out. Not just for the exhibits. The building itself is absolutely incredible with its old fire hall and city hall, police station, all of those things. It's just a fantastic building in itself, and you won't regret taking the time to poke your head in and wander around through the 3 floors of things. Great stop here in Pontiac, but it's time to get back to a little further down the road and keep on carrying on. Alright, so actually standing on an old alignment of Route 66 here. I'll flip the camera around in a second. You can see it going down the road in front of me here. But we're at the Illinois State Police Headquarters. It's an interesting looking building. More notably, even than how it looks from the ground, is that from the air, it is apparently shaped like a gun. So we're going to prove that theory by getting out the drone, throwing it up in the air, and seeing what we can find. We are in Normal, Illinois, but there is nothing normal about this restored Tudor gas station. Alright, here's an image of how it once looked. And here is what that same image mostly looks like today. So built in 1931. I apologize for the shakiness. I left the gimbal back in the car because we weren't actually planning on walking over here, but we saw this just as we were getting ready to hop in the cars and go out of town. Here's another classic service station. Different style, but that same great overhang canopy in the front where the pumps would have been. Love that stuff. We are in Atlanta, Illinois, not the one in Georgia. And you can tell because I've got Paul Bunyan standing over my shoulder there. So we're rapidly losing our light today. You can see the street lights in here in Atlanta have come on, but we're still making our way down the road as best we can. Here's a picture of them at his original location in Cicero.
I don't like horror movies. Yeah, I did see it.
This is a great little park. It's a little architectural kind of memorial park. They got some parts of some old buildings here. Some murals. This one dates from 2003. This one here, this is the stone from the facade of the Atlantic Public School from 1870. The school's clock stopped at 3:35 p.m. July the 21st, 1908, when the building was destroyed by fire. Here we have a cornerstone from the Atlanta High School. Now, I'm not, well, I am speculating that this one being built in 1909 was probably to replace the one that burnt down in 1908. The clock across the street here came from that high school. You can see that over there. So the school itself no longer exists, demolished in the 1970s. Some more cool little markers and highway shields and things here along this fence line. Very cool little place here. All right, that's it from Atlanta. We're going to get back on the road and carry on. Like I said, we're losing the light rapidly here. So, time's a wasting. See you down the road. All right. I say that a lot, don't I? Let's start over with something different. Okay, so across the street behind me here is the courthouse. We're in Lincoln, Illinois. It's a beautiful courthouse. You can kind of see a bit of the dome lit up there. We've really lost a lot of our daylight, so we're kind of scrambling here. We still have the goal of getting into Springfield tonight, so we're going to have to pick and choose what we see from here on in, with, like I said, the goal of getting into Springfield, but stopping in to see that courthouse here in Lincoln was certainly something we weren't going to pass up, even as the sun has gone down on us. And it's been a lot of fun. We're going to carry on and see where we end up. Thanks for watching for so far.